All right, what's up, guys? I'm gonna make a quick video here to show you a solution that I found to an issue that I hadn't even thought of or I hadn't really seen addressed on YouTube or anywhere else. I'm sure other people have had the same issue, but I definitely had it. I'm gonna tell you guys how I mitigated it. So this is my Zev 320 Octane, and it's wearing a Parker Mountain single port, comp, Parker Mountain barrel, things like that. So the issue that I had, this is the third compensated handgun that I have. It is the second Parker Mountain handgun that I have that's wearing a compensated. Let me grab my full size. This is my 320 VTAC, and it's wearing one of the Gen 1 Parker Mountain comps. I've got a 1911 that's comped as well. And I'm not going to do the whole safety check thing. I know the condition of my firearm. I know that the gun's empty for you safety queens out there. The issue that I had was stovepipes. So Zev Tech 320, fantastic firearm. I've taken it out to a class, red dot optics class, and I've even run it in 2 USPSA carry optics competitions, and it ran flawlessly. The issues that I started having came after I put the comp on the gun. So once I put the comp on, what I started having were stovepipes. So if you're not familiar with the comps or what their intended purpose is, the idea behind this is here. Let me just do this for you safety Nazis out there. Okay, there's nothing in the gun. Gun's clear. All right. The idea is the comp redirects the gas so that you have a flatter shooting gun so you can get back on target faster or to mitigate recoil, however you want to look at it. But instead of all the gases coming out of the front of the barrel and pushing the slide back, some of the gas is redirected this way so that it helps keep the gun flatter. So what I was having were stovepipes. Not rhythmically, it was like I could shoot 15 rounds, get a stovepipe. I shoot 3 rounds, I get a stovepipe. I shoot 8 rounds, I get a stovepipe. I shoot slow, stovepipe. Fast, stovepipe. Now, before I put this Parker Mountain barrel and comp, and I'll turn it this way so you guys can see it. Parker Mountain machine, fantastic company. Barrel comp dropped right in. These come with some shims. Didn't need any of that. Everything lined up perfectly. The gun runs phenomenally now that I've made the change that I've made. All right. So with that said, the idea behind the comp is it redirects some of the gases upward to keep the gun flatter, help you get back on target faster, however it works in your brain. What I realized was, though, that now instead of all the gases coming out of the front of the barrel going this way, with some of them being redirected this way, I was losing some of the pressure that was causing the slide to reciprocate and eject the spent brass. How did I know that that was the case? So this is why it's important to have a good relationship with your FFL. So the first time I took it out after I put the barrel and comp in, started getting the stovepipes, sat there for a second, kind of thought about what the issue may be. And I thought to myself that, hey, maybe it's because there's no longer enough pressure to overcome the recoil spring and guide rod that's in here because it's so new. At the time that I started having the issues, I had maybe 500-600 rounds through the gun. So I got off the lane, went out there, talked to the guys at the FFL. I said, hey, do you guys have a 320 that's just been beat to death? It's got like 100,000 rounds through it, just for the sake of saying the round count. One of the guns that you rent, and sure enough, they did. They had a 320 bone stock. Nothing had been done to it, and they had an infinite number of rounds through that 320. So you guys will hear me messing with the packaging back here. They broke the gun down really quick, did a really quick field strip, and pulled this piece out. This is the stock, or OEM spring guide rods, whatever you want to call this, that came out of this gun. So they pulled the one out of the rental gun that they had, that had God knows how many rounds through it. I dropped it in this gun, went back out on the range, put 100 rounds through it, and it functioned flawlessly. I was like, okay, that is the issue that I'm having. This one right here, like I said, probably has about 600 rounds through it because the gun's relatively new. I said I went to a 2-day class with it, and on the second day of that class, I ran this gun. I didn't run this gun the first day. and I've run 2 USPSA carry optics competitions with it. If you run those before, those round counts aren't that high. I probably fired 50, 60 rounds in both of those competitions that day. So 2-3 years ago, I probably just bought a case of 9mm, 1,000 rounds, and just run the gun, right? To put some wear and tear on this, but as of the time of this video, it is December 29th, 2020. So we all know how much 9mm costs and how hard it is to find it. So I did some research, did some looking, and what I found was a lot of competition shooters were using this company, DPM, and they make firearms recoil improvement kits, pretty much. Now there's 2 types. There's one that has a captured system. So in this kit, you would get something that looks similar to this, but it would be captured the way this is captured. So this spring and this spring is captured. They're locked in there. They do not come out of place. I elected to go with the adjustable one, and it came with a similar guide rod system here. I'm not going to take the gun apart. I'll talk about an issue that I had with this system and this gun specifically as to why I'm not going to take it apart on camera. But it pretty much looks identical minus a little cap. There's a little cap that's sitting up here that holds the spring in place, and you kind of work it in. But aside from that, it's identical. This spring here is the spring that you can choose from in this kit. The only downside, real downside I saw too with this kit was there was really no instruction or literature about which spring was the heaviest and which spring was the lightest. I just kind of put them side by side, and I picked the one that was in the middle as far as size goes. And I figured that was the middle one, and I put it in. But lo and behold, after I put this kit in, this gun runs flawlessly. Again, I took it out to the range today, did not have a single issue with it. The issue that I did have with putting this gun back together once I put this kit in was with the GoGun gas pedal here. Another issue you want to be aware of if you run one of these GoGun gas pedals and you buy a kit like this, I highly recommend you get one of these. These are awesome. I'll grab my other 320 really quick. All my 320s are wearing one of the GoGun gas pedals. It is phenomenal. It definitely gives you an identifiable purchase point to put your support hand or your weak hand or your uneducated hand, however you want to refer to it, on the firearm. The issue that I had was the gun would not go back together. And it took me a few attempts to figure it out. I pulled everything back out apart, and I compared the size of this portion of the factory system to the DPM system, and you would probably need a micrometer to get an actual number, but there was a slight difference in the size. The DPM system was a little bit bigger. I could feel it as I ran my fingers across it here. So what I had to do, if you have one of these GoGun gas pedals and you're going to run one of these systems, was I had to position the gas pedal exactly right. I had to get it as perfect as I could in there. Whereas with the old system, you just kind of rotate it as far as it'll go. The slide drops right on. With this one, I had to position it in a perfect position and then kind of give the slide a little bit of support. Like I had to give it a little bit of, hey, you're going to go past this. But once I had it past it, it worked fine. Like I said, I ran the gun today. I didn't have any issues with it. But that's just something that I thought was interesting. It was not something that I was aware of or privy to. I just thought I'd make this video in case you decide to run one of these Parker Mountain systems on your 320 or any other gun, because this is pretty much like almost a brand new gun. I probably have, after today, maybe 600 or 700 rounds through it. And since I've gotten it from Zev Tech, I've added the GoGun gas pedal, the Parker Mountain barrel, and comp. And this is an Apex trigger kit. So it went from the way it came from Zev to having all these other bits and pieces put on it. And I was having that issue. So if you put a Parker Mountain machine barrel comp package in your relatively new, doesn't have a lot of rounds through it, not really worn gun yet, and you're having some issues, more often than not, it's because because the gas is redirected, you're having a little bit of issue overcoming the spring that's in there. Two options: either A, you just run hundreds and hundreds of rounds through it to work that spring down, but we know how expensive that's going to be these days. Or I think I got this from Optics Planet for 50, 60 bucks. Dropped it in, took it out the first time, and it ran fantastically. That's it, guys. Just wanted to help someone out in case they're running up against the same issue. It's a really quick fix. It's a really simple fix. It's just not something that I had thought of or I had seen any videos or anyone had brought to my attention that may happen when you put one of these comps on your gun. And I hope that helps. All right, guys.